Hello, I'm Simon.
And I'm Dan.
And this is the Wikicast, a podcast where Wikipedia takes us to a random article and we talk about what we find. Daniel, what are we talking about this week?
This week, Simon, we're talking about Hans Freiherr Geyr von Schweppenburg.
Oh, how long have I waited to hear you say those words, Dan?
Well, there you go.
Hans Freiherr von Schippenberg, was that right?
Hans Freiherr Geyr von Schweppenburg. I mean, this is me trying to pronounce it. I was going to say authentically, but I think what it's probably coming across as is sort of like a pastiche of, you know, some slightly camp German.
This is German, having fallen through the jungle gym.
Oh, wo ist mein Handy? Mein Handy's kaputt.
Where's my Handy? Well, tell me about, what was his name? Heinrich? What was his first name? Oh, there were 8 that you gave me. Hans. Well, tell me about Hans.
Well, Hans Freiherr Geyr von Schweppenburg, October 3rd, 1884 to August 24, 1963, was a German nobleman, arborist, and ornithologist.
So more modern than I was expecting. I was fully expecting this to be like a chronicler from the 13th century or something.
Yeah. He served. You'll be pleased to hear that he served as professor of forestry at the Minden Forestry University from 1923 to 1938.
He's German Treebeard.
Yeah,
is what I'm hearing here.
Yeah.
Ja.
Ach so.
Wo ist mein Entmünchen?
Would you like to hear more about him?
München, not München. Yes, go on.
Well, von. I'm going to shorten it to von Schweppenburg. I think, in the interests of brevity.
No. I think we should use his full name every time.
All right, gosh, right. So Hans Freiherr Geyr von Schweppenburg was born in Müdesheim, southeast of Düren, in the family of Baron Friedrich Leopold and his wife Sophie, Countess von und so Eltz, or something like that. He went to
I couldn't tell if that was Discord just dropping out or if that was you attempting to pronounce German, because it just sort of went eight.
I think that's probably just a healthy mix of the two. He went to the Rhinish Knights Academy in Bedburg.
Right.
That's good, isn't it?
The Rhinish Knights Academy?
Yes.
He's not a knight. Well, yeah, he's a nobleman.
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because his father was, what did I say? His father was a baron.
Yes.
And his wife, and his father's wife was a countess.
God, it's a Nepo baby. Is this the first Nepo baby we've had? No, surely not.
It could be. It could be a festive Nepo baby.
So he was an arborist and ornithologist, I think you said.
Yes, and served as professor. Don't forget the most crucial part here. Served as professor of forestry.
Professor of forestry. Dan, have you been drinking?
No, I don't.
No, okay.
I don't drink on a work day.
Never mind the fact that this is the Friday before Christmas.
Shh. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring except for Dan, who was
the size
pissed.
of a mouse.
He finishing high school at the age of 17. By age 20, he had already published 15 scientific papers on bird. Wikipedia. Fantastic. It genuinely says by age 20 he had already published Oh gosh. Okay. Right. I might have had a beer. All right. So just
the one.
Just give me a hot second to read ahead.
By age 20, he had published 15 scientific articles on bird.
Yeah. By age 20, he had already published 15 scientific papers on bird, and the total rose to 250 between the first in 1901 and the last in 1963. He was particularly interested, Simon, in bird migration. And for many years...
Catholicism towards Protestantism in his music.
Indeed. And for many years, his studies of the red-breasted flycatcher and the Eurasian siskin were the major works on those species.
Without clicking, because I can tell that's probably a link, without looking at it, what is a siskin, Dan?
A siskin, Simon, is a small passerine bird in the finch family.
Oh, really? I didn't realise that you had such specific knowledge.
No, it's fine. I mean, It's also called the European siskin, common siskin, or hang on, I'll click the link. I'll click the link. And let's see
okay, yeah, you do that.
That's interesting. It's found in forested areas, both coniferous and mixed woodland, where it feeds on seeds of all kinds, especially of alder and conifers.
It doesn't discriminate.
It looks like a greenfinch.
Right. Okay. Well, because passerine, I think I'm right in saying, is any bird that grabs onto tree branches. I think that's what that means.
Yes. Yeah. Any bird that facilitates perching is another identifier there. How many identified species of passerine bird do you think there are?
So I know about passerines from a game called Metazoa, where it's like a tree of life, and you're doing like last common ancestors, and it's I played it loads, but in that there were no more than I don't know, like 20 different bird species.
Okay,
but it's going to be more than that. It's going to be thousands, right? It's got to be there are thousands of birds that sit on branches.
Yes. Well, I can tell you, Simon, with more than 140 families and some 6,500 identified species.
Get out of town!
Passeriformes is the largest order of birds and among the most diverse of terrestrial vertebrates, representing 60% of birds.
Yeah, I could have guessed about that, because in the game, normally if it was you'd see it come up and you guess like a specific type of bird, and it was almost always a passerine. It's like... it's stuff like flamingos that wouldn't be, or I think eagles aren't.
Or penguins.
Penguins, indeed. Penguins are in their own weird little bit of the tree of life. I can't remember. They are... Oh, yeah, it's Ostro... Oh, sorry, I have Googled this, I must confess. Ostrodiptornithes. They're like the Australian birds, basically.
Right. There you are. That's a little festive moment. We've spoken about penguins. It's the 20th of December.
Oh, tell you what. So that was a very cute thing that happened the other day. So we took Pixel Baby to there's like a big garden centre near us that has like a big Christmas display.
Right.
And they had animatronics. So they had like animatronic deer and bears and a seal and penguins. And Pixel Baby has this delightful habit where if she meets something, which could mean... in real life, or it could be on a screen, or as I learned when we went to the aquarium, in an aquarium, she always waves.
Yeah.
So we rock up to these animatronics, and she was just like, hiya, and waving at these these tiny animatronic penguins.
Oh, bless her.
She's so cute when it comes to that. Going around Bristol Aquarium and every little... well, none of them are particularly little, but all the tanks, seeing a fish and just being, hiya! Just... Oh, she's just the cutest. She's so cute.
Bless.
Because we when did you last? I'm trying to think. When did you last see her? It's been a little while.
It's been a time, hasn't it? I came to see you and Pixel Baby and Pixel Wife. When was it? It was this year.
It was. You definitely were there for my third of a century party.
Yes, but I came before that. I think didn't I?
I'm pretty sure you did. Yeah.
And I stayed.
It's just it all just changes so quickly. I'll be honest, Dan. This year, I mean, this is our year retrospective episode, I suppose. It's just been a bloody mental mess this year. It's all a blur.
This is the Wikicast Wrapped or something, isn't it? It's our review.
You talked nonsense for 2,600 minutes.
Yeah.
You wasted 800 hours of people's lives.
We've had glorious people tagging us in their Spotify Wrapped, saying that they've been that the Wikicast was their
top podcast. Thank you.
I don't think no higher than third most popular podcast, which is great.
I mean, I question your taste, but I've got to respect the enthusiasm in contacting us. I mean, it's wild to me that people listen to us or watch my videos or anything like that. I don't know. It's just still like a very alien concept to me.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. I don't understand it.
Was there anything spicy in your Spotify rap? Oh, so you're an Apple Music man, aren't you?
I am, but I'm thinking of moving to Spotify next year.
Oh.
It's taken me a long... This is my hot take, which is, like comically outdated, but it is just better.
I mean, I haven't got much experience with Apple Music.
The functionality is better. The only reason I listen to Apple Music is because there are some albums that I can only get on Apple Music that I can't get on Spotify. But I'm jumping ahead because that's getting close to my choral piece of the week. So.
Ooh, okay. Ooh, no spoilers. But I mean, yeah, because can you remember what your top artist was?
Oh gosh, no. I think it's going to be something choral. I don't really listen to a huge amount of
Contemporary
music. Much as I enjoy it, I just don't tend to listen to it all that much.
I've got nothing against contemporary music, don't get me wrong.
No.
Dan hastens to defend himself before he gets cancelled. Mine was The Longest Johns. That was my, I think, 2 years in a row now.
Of course.
Which was pretty cool because the day that Spotify Wrapped came out was the evening where I sang with them on the Wikicast Jingle Jam.
Ah, of course, yes.
That was very, very cool. I don't think many people get to say that, where it was like, I found out what was the top of my Spotify Wrapped, and then I got to perform with them that day.
Yeah,
they're so good. And I mean that in the sense of their musicianship, right? Because I asked if we could do a couple of things on stream, and we did one of their songs, Pride of the White Star Line. And then we also did Into the West from The Return of the King. And they'd never done it before. And I did one run through of half of it. I think we did a verse and a chorus with JD, the longest of the Johns. He just basically worked out a guitar part then and there. And then we didn't rehearse with the other guys. And then when we went live, they just spontaneously came up with harmonies that, I mean, we can spontaneously come up with harmonies, but quite often when we do it, it doesn't sound that great. And they just nailed it. It's something that I think is very easily lost just because they perform a lot of sea shanties and they're not necessarily technically difficult, but their musicianship is really good.
Yeah.
And lovely guys, really, really nice guys.
Well, professionals, you see. That's what you get.
Yeah. Although my top song was Higher by Creed, because that's been my jam of the year. As soon as I become a dad, I've specced into dad rock, apparently.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, of course. So yes, Jingle Jam is now finished as of the time of recording this. Did you get a chance to catch very much of it?
I did, yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed The Pursuer. Or what was that? Is that it?
The Pursuit. Definitely not inspired by any other quiz shows.
Yes, that's it. Yeah,
that was a ton of fun.
No, that was excellent. That was very, very good indeed. I thought you did a great job, as did everyone who was involved.
Yeah, I mean the tech team killed it with that. It's so difficult. I don't think people realize just how hard it is and how many people and how much hardware is involved in making something look professional as they did. It was 5 people at all times behind the scenes running cameras and overlays and transitions and things. It was a lot. The other thing which happened, which I believe I messaged you about this after the fact, was that I brought in my daughter, I think it was the day after, or possibly 2 days after, so that she could meet a lot of Yogs people. And she was lovely and waving and saying hi to everybody. And then she met Pyrian Flax, who was one of our pursuers on the stream. Met him, looked him in the eye, pointed at his head and went, "Egg!"
And how much training did you need to go through with Fern?
None. I did not know she could say the word egg.
Really?
Which, considering that Pyrian is bald, there was about a second where I was just like, oh my God. And then everybody burst out laughing, including Pyrian, which then made Pixel Baby burst out laughing as well.
Oh, that's so nice.
It was so awesome.
I bet Pyrian would have found it really funny.
Well, he's got kids of his own, so he gets it.
Yeah.
He talked about it on stream afterwards, but I just could not believe in the moment that it happened.
That's superb.
But yeah, no, it's been a very good Jingle Jam this year. Over £2.5 million raised for charity. Some good games in the bundle. Sorry, not the bundle.
Fantastic.
And I will be playing some of them. I really want to get back to Twitch streaming next year. I really missed streaming.
Yes.
It's just such a fun... It's like doing live events, It's just the chance to riff and improvise live, which it's very different to something like this where it's pre-recorded and edited. And obviously Fergus makes us sound incredibly intelligent. It's a mess before, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's all Fergus, really.
The raw footage is even worse. So, you've seen what I've been up to in terms of the Jingle Jam and everything like that, and obviously with the videos that I put out. But what have you been up to, Dan? What's been occurring with you?
Well, gosh, it's been a serious time. Seeing as our last episode was in, I think, September.
Yep, September.
We've all been busy bees.
It was the silliest of times. It was the most serious of times.
I'm no longer a couch surfing sort of slump of a man. I now actually have a place in London, which is very exciting. Mm-hmm. I've moved in with long-time VIP of the podcast, Mr. Hugo Wickman.
Hugo Wickman himself.
Yeah, I moved in with him in sort of I guess late September, early October, and it's really nice.
I think you'd moved in before I did that concert in London that you
That's
very
right.
kindly came to.
Yeah, which was fantastic, by the way.
Oh God, that was a highlight of my career.
You were so good. I was really proud, actually.
Aww.
It was this glorious moment when you were doing the things that you do so well, but then also being able to sort of simultaneously hug your love and interest and passion for music, and it was just this lovely thing to see you do that, and just be in the heart of all of your sort of worlds colliding in this beautiful, orchestrated, glorious thing. It was really good.
And
you were
then
excellent.
My laptop itself.
Yeah. Well,
I had one of the most stressful experiences of my life.
You styled it out. It was all right.
I styled it out as for people who weren't there. I was giving a presentation on Arcus clouds, which are a very visual type of cloud, and I had lots of animations and things to show. And my laptop just froze; it bricked itself. So I improvised the rest of it with my hands and talking, and then passed over to the orchestra to play this Golihov piece of music. Osvaldo Golihov is the composer, and it was tango. And then I stayed on stage, kneeling, trying to hide behind the podium with my laptop on, as I basically held a pillow over its face and force restarted it, and then found that the PowerPoint presentation was corrupted and I was missing all of the rest of the slides, and so I had to use a backup version. All of this happening whilst this incredibly intense tango music was taking place like 4 feet away from me.
Yeah.
It was within the high point of the concert, it was a real low point.
But we couldn't tell. I mean, from the audience perspective, there was just the screen went off for a bit and then it came back on and it was fine. So I think you handled it very professionally. But
that's not the relevant thing. The relevant thing is that you have now got yourself a place to actually live in London,
which is great. I feel it's lovely. We love the Wickman. He's a good egg.
He's a good egg. We should have him on one day.
We should. I mean, he did. I did say that I needed to disappear off and do the pod, and he said, "Oh yeah, you said that I'd be a special guest on at some point." So I think in the not too distant future we'll have to have him, which will obviously be much easier because we now live together. So it'd
be funny if we didn't, though.
It would be funnier if we still didn't, despite the fact that I live with the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Aside from that, I mean, work has been quite busy. There's lots going on. It's all very exciting, but it's just, very busy. I made my London conducting debut, which is very fun.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yes, I put a little choir together for a church just down the road, and that was really lovely. We had a very nice time, and it was received very well, and they would like us to come back and do more things, so that's nice. And
what have you been doing? Has it been busy singing season for you in the run-up to Christmas?
It typically would be, but I haven't. I've had a really quiet singing time of it, really. I mean, work has been very busy, and by virtue of that, I can't do as much singing as I might, want to. But I've done bits and bobs, and that's been nice. But really, it's not. I'm not doing a huge amount, which I sort of miss, but also I'm quite glad for, because with work being so busy, when I am sort of free and not doing that, then I just want to sort of sit quietly in a dark room and not do anything. So it hasn't been too bad. Although I am jet setting off to Scotland tomorrow.
Yes, for Merry Chrysler.
For Happy Crimbus times. We're going up. My partner her family's up there, so we're going up to Scotland. We went there last year for New Year, which was lovely. Sort of and go through all the Hogmanay, Scottish festivities. But really looking forward to going up for Christmas, and then it'll be a New Year in London, which will be really nice. So
I don't think we have any plans for New Year this year. I mean, admittedly, once you have a kid, obviously everything. You can't do New Year's like we used to, you still can, as and we did as uni students. But Christmas, we are spending up in Shropshire. My wife and I am going to be driving us up to Shropshire.
Oh yes, year. Because you are now, Mr. Toad has got his license.
Boop, boop.
The open road, the dusty highway, here today, gone tomorrow.
It's just been a ball ache, Daniel. It's been such a long journey. Right, I don't know. I can't remember if I actually told you this story, by the way, about how I ended up with this test.
Right.
So for the readers at home, I have been able to drive since 2019. 5 years ago, I did lessons, right? At the tail end of that year, Pixel wife and I moved across the country, and I figured, okay, right, 2020, I will get back on lessons and then we'll get a test and it'll be fine. Obviously, that didn't happen because of COVID. And then it was one thing after another. We kept moving house, had a baby, got married, and I had signed up for cancellation software. So I figured I'll get lots of warning. I'll be able to get a test in good time and I'll sort out an instructor, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that didn't happen. I messaged my current driving instructor about a year ago to say, do you have any availability? And she went, not for about 6 months. And I thought, well, that's too long. I'll find somebody else. 6 months went past, couldn't find anybody else because of this massive backlog from COVID. Then 6 months later, I was like, okay, fine. Do you have any availability? Even if it's in 6 months, I'll take it. So that's what happened. And then we were going through all of our lessons, and we've had semi-intensive stuff recently, and I had not seen the page where you were able to book a driving slot because tests just get snapped up immediately. I think partly because there's automated apps that people are using to book onto tests. So I was really desperate to try and find somewhere to take my driving test. So desperate that I thought, what the hell? Let's look up where my relatives live in the islands of Scotland. On the Isle of Skye, there is a test driving centre in Portree, and I was able to book a slot there. It's the one place I'd ever been able to do it. And then I signed up to one of these automated cancellation alerts things, and just by chance, because it happened several times before where like a slot will become available and it will give you the notification, and unless your phone is open, when the notification comes through, you've already missed it because these things get snapped up in literally 30 seconds. And this time round, on Monday this week, I was lucky. I happened to have my phone out. It was at the perfect time just before Christmas. I booked it, and the test was 3 days later.
Amazing.
It is wild that is what you have to do to actually get a test, like a driving test at the moment, because it's still the backlog from COVID.
It's crazy. I mean, I lucked out just before the COVID stuff got really silly. I managed to lock in a time, and but that's great. I mean, the freedom must be incredible.
Yeah, so I've already used it to pick up Pixel Baby from nursery. She was very surprised, I like drove to the office. It's not very far from my house, but I was like, I may as well find out what it's like. And it proved to me that actually over this distance, cycling is still better.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the knowledge that like if something happens. So for example, the other day, Pixel Baby had a really bad fever. I couldn't take her to the hospital. I had to wait for Pixel Wife to come back so that she could drive all of us. Whereas now if that happens, I just know that I can take her. And
if you need to do a big shop and people are away, you can just go, you can drive to the shops, you can do anything. Yeah, it's a fab moment.
I could drive us on holiday or going to Christmas. The other thing that was quite funny was during the test, I was obviously a little bit nervous because I was like, I don't want to this up. I've waited so long and I really want to pass this first time.
Yeah.
The examiner asked me what I did, what I'd otherwise be doing at this time of day. And this was after about 3 junctions that we'd been through. So it was very early in the test. And I mentioned that I was a YouTuber. From that moment onwards, we did not stop talking about YouTube. And
really,
like he was really interested in sort of how it all worked and what the latest video was going to be. And I was like, I think I've got this, because I don't think he's looked at his clipboard like this entire time.
Yeah.
Which either means I failed immediately or I think I'm in with a shot.
So did you pass? You passed with no minors?
I passed with 2 minors. Really frustratingly, I stalled whilst waiting for a set of lights, which I haven't done in weeks. Literally, that's just not something that I've done. I don't know why. I guess it's just test nerves. And then when I did the maneuver, I wasn't quite happy with my position going front into a parking spot. So I had to. I rejigged it. I was like, I don't want to risk it because if you're not outside the lines, then you fail. So I was like, okay, let's just jig it and we'll take the minor.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, annoyingly not a perfect score, but I didn't care.
My instructor said that he never gives perfect scores. He always gives one. He always gives 1 minor because you're a learning driver and there's always something you can improve on. And he said, if that makes you feel any better, with another instructor you would have passed with no minors. I am, however, going to say that I think you could have left your indicator on for maybe like 3 seconds longer on your exit from an A road.
You are fundamentally shit. You're just like your father.
Your father. So yeah, that's great though. Your horizons are going to rapidly expand.
I mean, even if I don't use it, it's just so great to have the flexibility and have the option to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, big dub. Massive dub. Speaking of dub, I think there are a few in the name of what was the guy's Hans Friedrich Andersen. What was his name?
Hans Freiherr Geyr von Schweppenburg.
Yes, that was on the tip of my tongue.
Yes.
Is there anything else that we should discuss?
Look, there's a big long chunk of biography. I don't really know whether we need to go through a huge amount of it. Let me just see if there's anything interesting that we've missed. He returned and joined the army upon the outbreak of World War One.
Oh.
One leg had to be amputated, and 5 years later the other also had to be amputated, but learned to walk with artificial legs and continued to walk.
How are we only just learning that he had 2 fake legs?
Amazing. Okay. He then became, and then he became the state forester and received a doctorate in 1923 on the subspecies concept.
That feels like a sentence fragment.
In 1924, he became professor at Munden Forestry University, where he stayed until his retirement in 1938. He lived in the moated castle at Aix in North Eifel. He had a special interest in bird migration, and for many years his study... Oh, that's just the same sentence repeated.
So it's taken us this long to find out that he had 2 fake legs and he lived in a castle.
Yes.
What are we doing, Daniel?
Yeah, well, I don't know. We're catching up. We're pushing Hans Freiherr Geyr von Schweppenburg to the side.
Yeah, I'm very happy for you, Hans Freiherr Geyr von Schweppenburg, but I passed my driving test, and that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and I've actually got 2 legs, so...
Yeah, so... Jog on!
Jog on! Right, I think that's it. I think that's as much as Hans Freiherr Geyr von Schweppenburg has to offer.
Well, thank you so much, Hans Freiherr Geyr von Schweppenburg. Thank you for your service and your legs. Daniel, I think it's time. You teased this earlier. What is your choral piece of the week?
And this will be my piece of the week. Drum roll, please.
God, it's a YouTube link, so I'll just need to skip through the ads and then pause it. Okay, here we go. Right, Fergus, you can start the link from this point. So, my choral piece of the... Thank you. My choral piece of the
Fergus,
week...
go now.
My choral piece of the week,
hold on,
Simon...
let him finish. Now.
Are you familiar with the tune While Shepherds Watched Their Flocks by Night?
I am, yes.
Excellent, because this is a different tune.
Okay.
It's from...
This one's called We Three Kings of Oriental.
It's from a really extraordinary little album that is so titled While Shepherds Watched.
Now,
and
Fergus started now.
It's Christmas music from English parish churches 1740 to 1830.
That how did you stumble across this one?
I don't know. I think it might have come to me in a dream. Wow. I genuinely have no idea. I think it was just the algorithm doing funny things. But anyway, it's an album of different arrangements of While Shepherds Watched, and there is a particular arrangement on that album by J. Foster, and it's just really, really fun. I'm going to send you, Simon, a little clip.
Ooh.
And you can see for yourself how glorious it is. It's camp and silly, and I love it.
Okay, you've just described half of our friendship group.
Yeah.
Right, let me just have a listen to this. So, video unavailable. I have to actually click the... Oh, god damn it. Right, here we go. Okay, I'm getting the camp and silly already.
Okay.
Ooh! Oh, this is fun.
It's really fun.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the Billy Billings Sheila. It's like the English version of that.
William
kind of same energy.
Billings. What an icon.
I know, because I think it's Bellowhead did a version that I think may have been the original melody. That's basically the same as on Ilkley Moor Bar Tat for While Shepherds Watched.
Right.
And that works surprisingly well, which makes me think it might be the original melody for it. But that's so fun! It's so nice to get something that you know very well.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. It's really fun and it's different. It's very it feels very sort of
Yes.
Haydn-esque, you know.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah, so I like it. So my choral piece of the week
Oh, that's delightful.
is J. Foster, While Shepherds Watched Their Flocks by Night. The whole album is really interesting because it's full of lots of sort of curious things. But yes, I quite like it. So there you
I
go.
had a concert recently. The chamber choir that I sing with, which has introduced me to some interesting Christmas music. I didn't know Finzi's in Terra Pax, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Literally makes me want to
Finzi's
cry.
fab though, isn't he? He's just superb.
It's the texture. It's like, oh, there's just so much going on. It's incredible. But if I was allowed to insert another little piece, and we also did the Poulenc Gloria.
You'll have to buy me a drink first, but yes, go on.
The Poulenc Gloria I did not particularly get along with. I just didn't particularly like it. But we did a piece by I never actually said his first name out loud before. Vitautas Miškinis, called Lucis Creator Optime. And it's just really interesting, nice, modern sort of choral music. It's the kind of thing that splits into 16 parts at points, and it's rhythmically really hard and really hard to pitch.
It's nice and modern. That's curious.
Well, it's in the same way that, like, what's a good analogy here? You know, like Paul Mealer, for example, writes stuff that's nice and modern, but this is nice and modern in the axis of, like, sort of German modern, you know, where it's like that bit spikier and kind of harmonically more interesting. It was a real challenge. It's possibly the hardest piece I've ever actually sung, I think. Like, it was really, really hard. Not helped by the fact that most of this concert we spent in very loose formation, about 4 feet from any other singer, and we were entirely mixed. So you were on your own. And it was a real challenge, but it was really, really good. So I'll pop a link to that one as well in the description if you're interested.
We've got so much choice, so much musical choice. This episode.
Should we skip on over to Critics Corner, because I think there's plenty more because it's been a while, so we've got probably a few more things to share notes on.
Yes.
No pun intended. Because what's coming up? I was sent the playlist for the next concert. We're doing that was it. We're doing Jesu mein Freunde, which by Bach, which I thought was the Jesu bleibt mein Freunde, the like. Jesu bleibt mein Freunde.
Oh, I see, right. And it's not. It's much harder.
It's not. It's also about 15 minutes long.
Yeah, it's not easy. There's also there's Jesu meine Freunde as well, which is fairly.
Yeah, that's this one. Yeah.
Oh right, I see. Right, yeah.
And then we're doing Heinrich Schütz's Musikalische Exequien.
Cool.
It's like half an hour long. I've never heard of it. But we're balancing it out. We're doing Ave Verum Corpus and God So Loved the World. So it swings and roundabouts.
God So Loved the World. What, Stainer?
No, Chilcott.
Oh, dear.
And we've got a bit of Stopford in there as well. So it's not... Into every rain a little life must fall.
As they say.
Famously.
I don't know who they are or why they say it, but apparently that's what they do. So.
We keep asking them to stop. Have you watched, read, seen anything recently, Dan, that you would like to critique and introduce to the audience?
Yes, I'm going to keep my first and most recent critique of a film, What Is in the Cinema Right Now. Fairly brief, and it goes thus. Gladiator 2, shit. That's it. That's my
Dogger
review.
Bank, fair. Wow.
Southeast Iceland. German Bite.
Paddington 3, Gladiator 2.
Yeah, shocking film.
Oh dear.
Just rubbish. Really, really spectacularly rubbish.
What did you not like specifically?
Oh gosh. I mean, it would be easier to say what I did like. Some of the performances were okay. Those performances that were okay were not in the keeping and corpus and feel of the film. So there's been lots of praise for, oh gosh, what's his name? Denzel Washington.
Oh, yeah.
I think it does a great job, really good performance, but his performance is totally out of keeping with the world that's created from the get-go. So it just seems like he's doing a sort of recontextualized performance of the same script, and it just feels very disjointed.
Oh, he's the Oliver Reed character?
Yeah,
The one-
basically, yeah.
Right, okay.
But more, and there's not enough development of his character, and then they expect the character to do like way too much, so it all just feels a bit rushed. I think pacing is a massive problem. The amount of CGI is astonishing, and some of the wide shots look quite good, but you just get this feeling that there are so many moments where you've got actors who are just, they're not a good, I think it's an Alan Rickman quote, who said people say, when I'm talking with other actors, and it's almost like saying, like, do you want to go for a meal, or do you want to go out for a drink or something? And they go, no, I can't because I'm running lines. And Alan Rickman thought that this was a complete farce. There is no point in running lines, because the actor's job and what makes a good performance is there is only one way to deliver a line, and that is an authentic response to the person you're on screen with.
Yes.
And it's all, good acting is response, and it's that relationship of various different sort of, action and effect, action response sort of thing. And I just get the feeling that in so many points in Gladiator 2, it's just like these are people on screen doing a thing, but they're not responding to anything.
The same thing that happened with The Hobbit,
Yes,
with everybody
exactly.
being on a green screen. They're not actually interacting with each other.
Yeah, totally. I think that's there are many parallels there. Yeah, I just found it so. I went with my partner, and there were two groups of people in our viewing walked out during the film.
Oh, wow.
And there were moments of just outright laughter from our screening. Not because there was anything funny happening on screen, it's just completely ludicrous what you're seeing, and just a mental script. And I thought it was dreadful. And we left the theatre, and I just said, I can't think when the last time I left a screening of a film of that sort of supposed calibre.
Yes, because you even stuck it out through the final Fantastic Beasts film. I remember you had a very similar review of that.
Yeah. And I can't remember leaving a screening. The takeaway for me was I found it offensive. Not because I was personally offended about the sort of content of the film, like it had sort of struck a nerve or something. It was more just sort of like, what do you take modern audiences for? I've paid money to see, like, do you think this is acceptable? Is this your best work? And I've done some reading outside of it as well, and apparently the film was like filmed in a really spectacularly short amount of time. Studios were saying you're going to need a good chunk of time to do this, and Ridley Scott was saying, no, don't worry, I can do it. I can do it in less than half of that time. And I think that shows. I think it's I just think it's really terrible. And my partner said, is it a shame because it's sort of by its existence sullying the great work of the first Gladiator film? And I said, no, I don't think it does that at all, because I just don't think you can compare them. They are totally separate. I don't think Gladiator 2 will do any damage to the first film at all. Because in my mind they are totally distinct from one another, much like the Fantastic Beasts films sitting outside of the core
For the
7
Harry Potter franchise,
book.
yeah.
I
mean, because that was what happened with me and Independence Day. I went to see the sequel, was it Resurgence? Whatever the sequel was called. And it was so bad that it made me dislike the original by just knowing that it existed. So I guess that's great that it's not quite reached that threshold where it's so bad that it's, retroactively ruining your enjoyment of another film. But oh dear.
Yeah, it's a shocker. I haven't seen Wicked yet. I'd like to see that, and I really desperately want to go and see Conclave.
Oh, I've heard really good things about Conclave.
Yeah. I mean, anything with Ralph Fiennes is obviously going to be a win, because he's just an extraordinary actor.
Yeah.
But so those are on my hit list.
I just haven't been to the cinema for a long old time now. I mean, I went to see Inside Out 2, but that's the last thing I saw at the cinema, and that was like 6 months ago. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's just difficult when you've got a kid. I have watched some interesting stuff recently. a YouTube recommendation I'd like to make is a channel, and it's possibly not news to a lot of people, but a channel called Ahoy, which does quite infrequent videos. I think the upload frequency is like, once every couple of months to a year kind of thing. But doing these sort of long form essays on either a weapon or a game or, in one case, a piece of artwork. And it's just been really good. I really, really enjoyed his one on the XCOM series. That was fun.
Oh, great.
But the one that's really stuck out to me, it only came up quite recently, was the Amazon series Secret Level. I don't know if you've heard about this.
I have.
So this is what's it like? Love, Death and Robots, in the sense that it's like an anthology. Every episode is different and sort of different art style and everything. And they're all based on different video games. And for example, one of the episodes is based on Pac-Man, which I've not watched, but is apparently legitimately horrifying. Like, really, really horrific imagining of Pac-Man, as this being that is trapped inside a maze surrounded by ghosts. But the episode naturally that I'm most interested in is the one about Warhammer 40,000. It's the first big budget TV representation that we've had of the game universe, and it's really, really good. Yeah. It's like really, really well done.
I remember you showed me that you shared the trailer, and it looked fantastic.
Yeah, so it's like 20 minutes, and it actually tells a good, simple story. It ties in with other lore. Specifically, actually, it features the protagonist from the recent Space Marine game, which I think is a very neat way of tying everything together.
Yeah,
because he's also a playable character in the game and from the faction that's been the big box set release. And the animation is gorgeous. It just looks fantastic. It's just, even if you're not a 40k fan, even if you just like sort of sci-fi, it's just really good, and it makes me very happy that it's been done. They showed that you can do a good adaptation of the universe, and it makes me hopeful for the potential Henry Cavill series that's still under development with Amazon.
Oh yes, yeah.
Because that's still happening. These things just take a long time. I think that was announced like 2 years ago, and they'll still be in the finding out stage. Does make me a bit nervous that they're going to try and do Space Marines, which I think would be a mistake for a TV series. For a one-off, I think you can afford it, but the budget would have to be immense for it to be full CG, which is what you need it to be. But that's been the thing that stuck out to me recently. Everything else is... Oh, I can recommend a book, actually. I feel like it's been a while since we've recommended a book on the show. I really enjoyed Other Lands by... Is it James Halliday? Thomas Halliday, beg your pardon, which is a natural history book about the different geological eras of Earth, but each chapter is like a different time period, but it's almost as if you are watching planet Earth, like a David Attenborough type documentary, and it's sort of semi-narrative in that way. Like you'll be following one organism and then seeing how it predates on other stuff, and that kind of thing. But it's this really full. It feels like a very full reconstruction of an ecosystem at a specific point in time, and then going further and further back. And it's really good. It was my copy was actually the copy that I gave my dad. And he never got a chance to finish it. So it's been quite nice to sort of pick up that baton and read it. And I'm glad that it was the last book that he read, because it's a really, really good one.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Would highly recommend if people are interested in Earth's natural history.
I have one other thing to mention. It's not so much a criticism, but something to I'm not going to pass value judgment on it, because in my mind, you can't, because it's just amazing. There is a YouTube person, he is also on other platforms as well, called Greg Johnson, Greig.
Right.
Johnson with an H. He is a filmmaker, prop maker, writer, musician, actor, comedy shorts, music. But he has most recently got into sort of he's a maker. And
oh, cool.
He is incredible. I came across his videos years and years ago, his sort of silly little sort of comedy things. But most recently he's been doing making videos. But he, There's a word
like a build,
for it.
it'd be like making a...
There's a word for, it's the kind of stuff that Adam from Mythbusters.
Savage.
Yeah, sort of, it's his work, so he does some miniature work, he does prop building and bodging things together, but using skills, making it look absolutely incredible.
Oh, I've got his channel up here. This looks sick.
Greg does this, and not only is the work amazing, but the production value of his videos and his sense of humour and his general presence and everything, honestly, I am blown away. So much so that I'm now one of his top Patreon supporters.
Oh, wow.
Because I just think I think the work he does is incredible, and I would love for more people to experience his work. He's a really funny guy. Sorry, you can probably hear it, and a lot. This is what you get when you live in Westminster. There's a siren going past, but he's just brilliant. He's really funny. He's so creative and just amazing. And you watch one video, and there's so much detail and humour. You'll just get sucked into a vortex of watching the entire back catalogue, and then you go further back and you see his comedy stuff and his short films, and he's just brilliant. So I really we'll include a link in the video description, but please go and check out Greg, because he's glorious.
He's been on the platform for a long time.
Yeah,
his
he really
earliest
has.
video is at least 16 years old. Do me a favour, Dan. Could you go on his channel for me and go on his videos and sort by most popular?
Yeah.
And could you tell me what his most popular video is called?
Sex Tips, a lover's guide to sexual positions.
Now, I'm not going to lie down, that sounds quite different
Yeah.
to what you just described.
Can you do me a favour, and can you watch the first 60 seconds of Food Farm's advert?
Okay, right, here we go. Okay.
You see
All
it?
right, yeah. I'm adding a bunch of stuff to my watch later playlist. This is
honestly,
great.
Simon, this is a veritable gold mine of just creative brilliance. There is also on that page Der Pfuffet Schuh Christbread Spectrum Puppet Christmas Special. He's created his own version of the Muppet Show.
Oh my god.
But from like a fictive, he has all of these different characters, and honestly, it's unreal. It's superb.
He reminds me of Miscast.
Any of the Woody Brown essential audio tips with Woody Brown, it's all gold. It's hilarious.
It's all going in the watch later.
And I love it. And you watch all of this and you think, okay, he's a funny guy, he's pretty creative. And then you watch his, so I can see here, making a mutant cyborg kaiju Cthulhu, or making the ritual monster from action figures, hot glue and LED. Like, it's brilliant. It's absolutely superb, and I think he's a genius. So yeah, Greg Johnson check him out.
Yeah, he reminds me of there's a similar aesthetic. There's a channel called Miscast. He's an Aussie guy called Trent who does like it's sort of tabletop gaming and maker type content, but it's very unique and it's very artistic in the approach in a way that I think is quite similar, because I've been really enjoying his stuff as well. Oh man,
I'm seriously considering in the new year sending him a message and being like, look, would you come on as a guest and we'll just have a chat about how you got into this line of work. And because he's got, he's done some stuff for like CBBC and Dave, and he's worked on TV as much as he does what he's doing now, and I just think he's the most interesting guy, and it would be really cool to chat with him. So maybe if this can be a sort of call to arms to the readership. Honestly, please check out some of his stuff.
Amazing.
And if you like him and you think he's great and you want to hear more, then I'll reach out and see if he fancies coming on to sort of give us an insight into his weird and wonderful world. I think that'd be really fun.
Well, I'm conscious, Dan, that we've actually been talking for a very long time. We should probably actually say a very special set of thank yous to the people who make this whole nonsense possible.
Yes, you're not wrong.
Top lad. Basically, This is Patreon Corner. This is the section of the show that pays for our hosting. It pays for Fergus to edit the show. We don't monetize. We don't want to put adverts in it or anything like that because we're not, well, we're already wasting your time. We don't want to waste it any more than that. So basically, these are people who like what we do enough to just sling us a small amount of money every month to keep us ticking over, and we are forever grateful to them. In doing so, they do have to declare an allegiance, however, to Team Cat or Team Dog. I, as is tradition, will read out the names of the people who are Team Cat because that is the superior pet of choice. So I would like to say a special thank you to Kobe, Lord Lewis Bassingdale of Anetsford and its surrounding provinces, Isabella, Lexi's at Front Desk's Cat Hilda, James S, Anna Reifer, Simon P, Jack Easton, Izzy CC, Dame Valerie III, Lena Medina, Will Janice Humphreys, Rents Kirk, Oliver Burkhart, Cole Mansfield, and the one, the only, Dan Hanby. Thank you so much.
One eternity later.
And this once I'm also reading out the dog names because Dan is having some trouble logging into the Patreon because Patreon does like to make our lives difficult. So I get to read a set of names I don't normally read. Here we go. Let's do it from the bottom to the top. So thank you very much to the top dogs. Oh, that feels wrong to say. Thank you very much, Jay Wright, Ben McMurtry, Colin J. Brown, Maggie, the original Lexi at Front Desk, I'm stuck in a PhD and I blame Simon, hey, Aaron Jorgensen, Naf LaRock, Andrian, with an N, Chan, Ben Caples, Martin Narciso, Amy Bonney, Riley Stray, Lexi at Front Desk is the boss now, Sophie, and Jonas Ulbricht. Thank you so much. Oh, God bless you, Lexi at Front Desk and the extended universe.
Glorious. Absolutely glorious.
Top lad.
Gosh, Simon, we've been going for quite a long time.
We have, and you're still having trouble getting access to our inbox.
Yeah,
so
because it's been such a long time, I'm having a couple of security issues that Google is making super easy for me to resolve. So
that siren that we heard earlier was actually the police. It wasn't an ambulance as we first thought.
Get on the floor! You're accessing the Gmail. Yeah, no, it's my own G. Get on the floor. Okay, all right.
Do you think that the eyes of the White Tower are blind?
In light of the fact that it has been a time, but we're back, and we've been going for some time. We're going to save our correspondence for the new year.
Yeah.
Thank you for sticking with us and understanding that. For various life events on both Simon's side and my own, it's just been slightly awkward trying to get a time in, but I'm glad that we've managed.
We managed it today.
We've managed our Christmas special.
Yeah, it was very festive today, wasn't it?
Very festive. Yeah. So yes, we won't be having any correspondence today, but keep your eyes and ears peeled for the cavalcade of correspondence comedy that will be arriving on your phones on the next episode in 2025.
Also, a very special you to whoever signed our email up to get emails about pregnancy. I've been getting notifications on my phone for the past 9 months about it's almost time to meet your baby, and at 7 months this is what to expect. Whoever that was, I swear to God. We've had a few of these over the year, but oh boy. Right. So, Daniel, what have we learned today?
Today, Simon, we learned about Hans Freiherr Geyr von Schweppenburg.
Oh, yeah.
The German nobleman, arborist, and ornithologist.
Of course
yes, we did.
I remember well. With 2 fake legs and who lived in a castle.
Yeah.
2 facts that we discovered, I'd say, much too late.
2 fake legs and lived in a pineapple under the sea. I think is what we know about Hans.
Lives in a castle and has 2 fake legs. Hans Freiherr Geyr von Schweppenburg.
Exactly. We had a long overdue catch up as we haven't recorded a podcast for some time, but we are back and expect more regular broadcasting. We have said this before, but I promise you it will be happening, and it's very exciting. What else did we talk about, Simon?
God knows, Daniel. God only knows.
We had my choral piece of the week, of course.
Did? I talked about my driving test. The fact that I can now legally drive.
Choral piece of the week. Driving test. Gladiator 2 is shit.
About Gladiator 2.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a journey.
It certainly has, and we're very grateful that you came along with us on it. That's all for this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to us on your podcasting service of choice. Join the Discord, and if you'd like to see our faces, check out our Instagram.
Gladiator 2 reviews, your own Christmas tales, and other thoughts on the show can be sent to us at spongyelectric@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Join us again for another tumble down the wiki rabbit hole.
And we'll see you next time.
I think we hid the fact that you were really drunk really well.
Really drunk? How dare you?
Dan, you've had 4 pints, and by weight, that's about 50% of your body.
Yeah, look, you're not wrong. It's been a time.
You filled those hollow bones.
Guess where I'm going in half an hour?
Pub?
The pub.
I don't know. Shh, pub? Amazing. Right, let's stop that recording. Merry Christmas, Fergus.
Merry Christmas, Fergus.